Here's what happened. It's been over 10 years since I started my first business. And along the way, as you know, as you're building a business, you have a lot of people coming in trying to tell you how you should run the business, or you should try out this solution, or this is going to help you save so much time and not feel so overwhelmed with what you got going on. I mean, it's basically people selling you all these different solutions. And I mean, you have something to sell when it comes to the business too. What happens is if you were to try every single thing that everyone were to tell you to try, you go crazy. You wouldn't be able to get it all done because there's so much stuff out there. And so it can feel at those times. And a mentor of mine, John Butcher, I've talked about him before. He says it great where it's like you don't want to be the driftwood, just like drifting along in the ocean. But so many of us can easily go into that, and I know I can easily go into like, oh, let me listen to what other people, want me to go do, because for me, that's been something I've been working on over the years is having to understand what do I really want. Like, what is it that I really want? Because I felt growing up, I always had to be, the perfect person for everyone else, right? Both my parents were teachers. I've talked about that before. And, they both taught me. And so I felt like I had to be perfect, even though they didn't put that on me. And it was a lot of like listening to the shoulds that everyone else had for me in my life. And so as I'm building this business, it's making sure to have that space to figure out what I really want. And that's what I want to get into with these 4 habits that have helped me. And I really do believe that they can help you to be able to create that space. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I know you could be doing a bunch of different stuff, a lot of distractions that could be out there. And so by you being here, it says something. I want to focus on creating that space for what you really want. So what I want to do is get present here. So I know you've had a lot of, I say shit, but there's challenges that you're dealing with to get to this point. And then you're going to have probably a lot of the challenges afterwards that you got to deal with. And so to get present, what we'll do is a deep inhale through the nose, and then let's exhale through the mouth. All right, so here we go. Deep inhale. And then if you want, you can stretch it out. I like to do that too. So exhale. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a yawn too. Oh, man. Bonus right there. There we go. Welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome. If you haven't done it yet, you can subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. I got a few commitments for you. I want to get into it. The first commitment is to continue to grow the show. So by you subscribing and following the show, it helps to honor that commitment and continue to build this movement that's been built around this one mission of Make Burnout Extinct. The second commitment I have for you is to be honest with you. There were so many moments along the way leading up to my burnout after that social media conference back in 2018, where 500 people came together, where I lied. I lied so much in those moments. And I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, that is where I had this pressure and this tension that was building. It's like this thing that you can't get rid of. And so all it's going to do is build and build and build. And what happens, it's like for the body is like a balloon, is if there's no way for the balloon to release the air out, the balloon's going to pop. So for the body, if there's no way to release that stress out, you're going to then hit burnout. It's a one-way ticket to hitting burnout. And so that's why I believe it's one of the main reasons I hit my burnout. And so honesty is such a powerful value of mine that has helped me to release that stress out. Like it's just so much easier to move through life in that way. And so what I want to do for this show is to the best of my ability to be honest with you of what it takes to make burnout extinct, because it absolutely is possible for you. And I want to remind you of that. And so it's recognizing not just the results, which the 3 are, feeling more energized in your day for the simplest form of it, feeling connected to that aliveness of life, right? Rather than go through the motions of your day and just like trying to get by. And it's the feeling excited for the momentum that you're building, for that vision you have for your life. All of that, as well as the hard work behind the scenes. When people aren't looking, you're putting the reps in, right? There's no one coming in and checking in on you. It's you deciding that you're going to do this for you and for what you're building. It's when you get off track, recognizing those sensations that come up for your body, the emotions that can bubble up, the anger is one of them. And then realizing that you can get back on track. You can move through this and continue to put those reps in. It's all of that. And I want to do the best, to the best of my ability. I want to help you in first realizing it is possible for you to make burnout extinct, and then two, being able to share with you those strategies to be able to move towards that in your day. So thank you for being here, for being a part of this movement. Let's get into it. I want to break it down for these 4 habits. I'll share what they are to start, and then we'll go through each one separately. But I want to first get into the problem that you may be dealing with right now, which is you might be feeling like, what the hell are you doing in the business? It's like, this isn't the direction you want to go, you want to be moving towards, but you feel trapped and stuck, that you can't make any changes because things are moving. Like, you might be having your bills being paid through the business, where you're like, okay, I feel financially secure here. You might have a team as well here, so you're having to deal with other people and that responsibility that comes with it. You might be having clients currently that you're working with and taking care of. And so you have all these different things that are going on. But I want to remind you is that if you're staying stuck and you're feeling drained more than feeling energized, eventually that's going to lead you to one-way ticket to hidden burnout. And burnout doesn't happen overnight. It is this process over time, but it's recognizing what those signals are that are telling you you're feeling drained right now. And one of them could be like, you feel stuck of like, this isn't the direction I want to go into, but I don't know really what I want. And it's recognizing that and then making the changes to the behavior and to the habit. So that you can move towards feeling more energized, and then ultimately towards making burnout extinct, and spending the majority of the time of being in on that side of the spectrum. Because I think about it as a spectrum, where on one end you've hit burnout, on the other end you've made burnout extinct. Being able to spend the majority of your time on that end of the spectrum where you've made burnout extinct. So getting into it for this feeling of what do you really want, you may have a really hard time because you got a lot of challenges going on, of feeling like you can create the space for yourself to think of like, what do you really want? Because you're in that constant, I think about that for the nervous system side of it, like it can feel for a lot of times you're in the fight or flight. It's that sympathetic nervous system, that phase where it's just everything feels like all the challenges coming your way can feel for the body like perceived threats that you're having to deal with. And so you got to go deal with this challenge, but then it's like moving on to this next challenge and this next challenge. And you feel like you have no moments to like get your head above water and like take a deep breath in. So actually you're probably feeling that right now, right? That there could be some tension, that overwhelm, that pressure building. So let's pause here, right? We're going to pause. We're going to do that. I got you. We're doing it right now. Let's take another deep inhale through the nose and release out through the mouth, right? So here we go. Deep inhale and then release. So let me show you these 4 habits, or tell you about these 4 habits to break it down for you. I'll name them. We'll go through the list first, and then I'll go through each one. First one is to not have digital distractions. So have space where you don't have any distractions digitally. And for me, how I think about that is going for a walk with my life partner. We do that. Again, perfection doesn't exist, but for the majority of the time, we try to get it out, go outside for like at 4:30 p.m. And go for like an hour walk. We're right now in Santa Barbara. There's like this nice hill right outside, so we can climb on up the hill, able to have some great views, connect, and that is a ritual that we've created for ourselves. So that is an example for you with that one. The other one is being able to change your environment. And so if you are stuck on a problem or a challenge right now and you're trying to figure out what you really want to do in this situation, it's stepping away from the situation that you're in, changing the environment. If you're inside, get outside. Simple as that. I'll dive more into it later. The next one I have for you is working out. Like working out, movement, the walking without digital distractions is an example of that. But even deeper, I think about lifting weights. I've been focused on that as a new habit, is lifting weights at home. I've been on and off with this over the years, and I really want to be consistent with this habit. I've been consistent in other habits, specifically movement, and now I'm taking it to the next level. So I'll get into more of what that can look like for you when it comes to that specific habit. Then the other one, which was just recent, came back into my life. And I think about when I first started when I first started my, what am I trying to say here? When I first started my business, the first business over 10 years ago, I was a DJ is how I got started. And so music was so powerful for me at that time. And thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, dancing. Like dancing is great. Like I really like to dance. And not just, it doesn't have to be like a certain style of dance. Like it just be like moving the body in that way, just like moving around, but dancing to music is how I think about that. And this one has really helped me to come back into my reconnecting with my body. And that's what I want to tell you is all of these habits, what they're doing is helping you to reconnect, is what it feels like, reconnecting with your body, right? Those nearly 40 trillion cells doing their thing of taking care of you is being able to reconnect and realize that your body's on your team. Because what happens is your body is telling you signals that you are headed towards hitting burnout. It's for you to recognize those signals and then make the necessary changes in your habits in order to move towards making burnout extinct. Simple as it's one of the simplest ways I can put it is that you have to make burnout extinct is to have more energizing activities than draining activities. But you got to recognize what those draining activities are. Or habits is how you can think about it. And your body's there to tell you those signals, where you're feeling the pressure, the tension, where you notice the stress bubbling up, noticing the different emotions that can bubble up, that can create even more stress and overwhelm. It's all of these open stress loops that can happen throughout your day. And especially as you're building the business, it can happen a lot. And so when you can figure out what you really want, you can speed up this process of dealing with all these different challenges that can come your way. When you know what you really want, you can be able to ignore a lot of the distractions and the noises around you of people trying to tell you should try this solution or this product or this service. You can start to really focus on you can filter them to figure out what it is you really want and what's going to support that. And then it can feel like you are the captain of your ship. And I know, we've heard of that before. It's like a cliche. It's what it can feel like, but it's true. It's like being in the driver's seat of your life and being able to move through life. So many years for me was responding to what other people were telling me to do. And that's where then I felt like a driftwood just floating through the ocean, right? And it can be great, like to feel like that's something you want to do. And it doesn't mean you can't have those moments of relaxation and just kind of letting things be and just, whatever's going to happen today, let's see what happens. But that's great to be able to do that on a rest day. It's not really great to be able to do that when you're trying to build the business and make things happen for yourself in the business with the team and the challenges that you're facing. Like there's going to be an importance of making key decisions there and being able to move forward. So that's where then these 4 habits come into play throughout your day. So let me kick it off with the first one. The first one is I think about going back to that walk with my life partner, Adriana, where we would go out at 4:30 p.m. and go hike up this hill that we're on in Santa Barbara. We have some nice views. We're able to take a break from work because we're going to work, a little bit afterwards. We're in that chapter of life where it is a lot of hard work being put here. We're building the foundation over these years. And I've been in the game for 10 years plus of when I first started back in, 2014. So it's now in this phase, in this chapter, because again, there are chapters in this. This one is a chapter of hard work right now, putting in the reps hard. And so we're both doing that within our businesses. And so this walk, it's great to do it without digital distractions. And so that we can reconnect. I can reconnect, we both have our separate moment as we're going up this hill where we're reconnecting with ourselves just to be like, all right, got a lot of shit that I was dealing with that was coming up right now. So I can take a moment to reconnect. And then we're able to connect with each other. And is every day amazing, incredible, and awesome and it's so wonderful? No, because it's life. But at the same time, we're putting in the reps for the consistency of that connection. And we do have those amazing moments. And then other times we're just walking, we're walking, we're not talking with each other. We're having that space to just know that we're there for each other. And that's a beautiful gift to give to someone, is knowing that you're just there with them. And that's where safety then can be built on a whole new level for the body, for yourself. And then from there, when you're feeling safe, that's where you can feel, you can relax more too. And that's where then more stress can be released from the body. And so that you aren't building all of that up and headed towards a one-way ticket to hitting burnout. Because what happens with our phones, computers, trying to think TVs is another one, is that we're getting a lot of input coming in. There's so much information out there, and that can create a mental overload. And then you can get stuck in your mind constantly and not move on down your awareness to the rest of the body. And so being in a tight space like the mind, having all of this information coming in, flooded in, it just feels overwhelming and exhausting. And so that's an opportunity by going for something for like a walk without digital distractions. That's an opportunity for a habit to help you to bring your awareness back to your rest of your body, to be able to put that pressure and that overwhelm, move it through the rest of your body, and then eventually being able to release it out as you're connecting back to your body. And if you're with another person, being able to connect with them on a deep level. So to get into it for number 2, it's the habit of changing your environment. It can be so easy for me, and being an entrepreneur, of like wanting to solve the problem and figure out the solution to the challenge I'm facing, to push hard, right? It's necessary to push hard. I mean, that's such a beautiful gift to have. And so for you, as you're building the business, you know those challenges where you get stuck and then you're like, I got to try to force it. Like we keep pushing. And what I'll ask you is, how do you feel as you're trying to push through? It's exhausting, is my guess. It is intense. There's a lot of pressure there. And so what can happen is you can get stuck into trying to do the same thing over again, and then have the same results where you just stay stuck. And then you get even more angry at yourself and frustrated. And then that can really cause you to get off track, where you then are wasting potentially hours on something, where instead what you could do for a habit is actually take a moment to change your environment. It's if you're sitting down by your computer trying to figure out a solution to a problem, you're able to get up, get outside for a few minutes or even a few seconds. What that will do with the change in the environment is it helps for your mind to have a whole new perspective on the challenge and the problem that you're dealing with, because your environment is different. So then you're able to take in that variety for a human need. You're able to have that dopamine rush that can happen with a whole new environment and whole new possibilities. Is there's like pleasure that can come from that, of like a whole new scenery, because it's not boring anymore of what you may be stuck inside for hours. So then what happens is naturally what could happen is then the solution can come up so much easier for the challenge that you're dealing with. And then you figured out what you really wanted in that moment of how you wanted to deal with it. And then you can apply it and take the action by coming on back, sitting down and getting it done. And I've done that before, where I've tried to push hard. I think about that with, if it's recording videos, even recording episodes here for the podcast, like I would try to push, but I'm doing the same thing on repeat, getting the same results of staying stuck. And then my mind gets so overwhelmed with this, like, oh, am I going to get through this? Like I have so much other stuff I got to get done in the day, so many more challenges I got to deal with. I don't want to stay stuck on this, but now hours are going by. Now I'm getting really pissed off at myself. What the hell are you doing, dude? Like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, you go down those tornado thoughts. That's just what I'm calling. It's these tornado thoughts, just moving. I don't want you to have to go through that for a long period of time, because that's just going to be exhausting, and it's going to lead you to the first red flag of burnout, which is chronic exhaustion. And especially as those are stacking up for those moments throughout your day and throughout your week, throughout your months, throughout your year. I don't want that for you. So simply, and I know you're going to, so what will happen is it's a simple habit of changing your environment, but you will have to move through natural resistance from the body, because change can create uncertainty, and then uncertainty can create this stress response from the body, because fear is bubbling up, and then it's worried about this. How you can think about it is this: there's this perceived threat of change in behavior, or a new habit coming in, and that creates an unknown for your future. And so your body does want to keep you safe, and so something unknown. I mean, hey, if you were to look, I think about that. If you're walking at night on a trail in the middle of the woods, it is dark out, right? And you have no light. That is terrifying. There's that sensation of like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. That's how you can think about it for the body, of this unknown. And so, of course, in the body, I think about it as your burnout beast is going to, so it's not your body, but it's the burnout beast. You're going to get pulled back to your old ways, and because that's what's familiar for the body. But the body's just trying to keep you safe. And so it's natural for that to happen. And you guys remember, it's this burnout beast that is trying to drag you back that way. And so when you can be reminded of, oh no, I am safe, I can do this. And it's not even like you can repeat to yourself, I am safe, but it's more just recognizing that you can move through the resistance. Like there's this resistance coming up of like, I don't want to get out of this chair and go outside. You can do it. You absolutely have the capabilities to make that happen for yourself. And this is your reminder. So that is habit number 2. Let's get on to number 3. So I'm trying to think of my order. I'm getting out of order. I might get out of order here. Third one is working out. So with working out, this or specifically lifting weights, I've been doing this now. I think I'm on, what day is it today? It is day 5 of this habit of that I'm focused on staying consistent with, which is lifting weights at home. Lifting weights, it's been on and off for me, and how I've talked about it before for my story, but back in 2021, I remember going to my brother's house, and he has a garage out back where he has a pull-up bar. I went to the pull-up bar, and I used to be able to do 12 of these. Because I played, I think about it, I'm a 3-sport athlete back in high school, worked out a little bit in college, and then it's now 2021. I'm in, thinking, how old was I then? Late 20s then. And I barely could do even one pull up. And then I remember feeling so like defeated and like angry at myself. And so then, I focused on trying to lift, weights at home. And so it's just been this constant like back and forth of back then. I made a commitment to create movement, and I've been consistent with that. That's how I got started, was just let me not go through the plan and like set it up for every day, what I'm going to do for the workouts. Like that's just way too overwhelming for me. I'm just going to start off with movement, and then it's led me now to this habit of lifting weights consistently at home as a one that I'm focused on for the next 14 days. When I first started. And that's how I like to do it with these new habits, is set it for 14 days to get started, figure out. It helps me to go through the 3 phases of habit formation process, which I've taught about that before in other conversations. I'm not going to do it right here, but it helps me to be aware of, is this going to be a habit, or how am I going to keep this habit in my life consistently moving forward after these 14 days. And so what I've noticed with lifting weights at home, because it's fresh right now, is I feel stronger. I'm able, literally by lifting things physically, you're able to then connect to these different parts, to reconnect back to these different parts of the body, and to move your awareness, not just in your mind, but moving on down to the rest of your body. And especially if you're dealing with these challenges and these problems in the business, and you really don't know what you want, or if you think about that big picture, what do you want for the business? This is helpful, is to then connect back to or reconnect back to these to the rest of your body. But then with the tension, like when you're lifting weights, like you have a lot of tension there, and then when you drop the weights, you're releasing that out. And similarly, you can have a lot of stress that can build in the body, and so then you have those opportunities to then release the stress out by lifting the weights. It's like you're transferring that into the weight itself, which is kind of cool for the body, where then it can release out, is how you think about it. And then when you have that open space for that relaxation that can come, especially as you've done an intense workout and you got the endorphins kicking in, you then have the space for clarity to form of like, okay, what is the next action I got to take here? Or what is it that I really want in this specific situation I'm dealing with in the business? And then move forward in that. Or, hey, is there even a bigger picture view that can take of what do I really want? But this can then create that space for you. And after I do the workout, I feel energized, right? I mean, you're creating a form of movement. So you're producing energy in the body. And then over time, as you increase your capacity of the working out and lifting weights, you're increasing your capacity of energy to produce energy in the body, which is really cool. And so it just has this awesome cycle of growth that can happen for you. And from there, what happens is, as you are able to understand more of what you really want, that's where then you can feel more confident in the path that you're headed. Going back to what I talked about of, walking in the middle of the night in the woods on this path that you've never been on before, and you have no light with you. I mean, that's terrifying. So now you're able to have a light with you for a little further ahead. You can see what's going on. And that's what I believe lifting weights for me has done, is help me to create more of that space to understand, what do I really want here? So that's number 3. Now let's get into the last one here. The last habit is dancing with music. Like, you could just dance with no music and just be like, let me just flow. I'll play the music in my mind, in my head, just go. You could be weird like that. I've done it before. So I'm here. You're not alone in it. But I also like to play music. I've been doing that recently, where especially in the morning, to help me get like fired up and ready to go in the business for what do I really want. I'll hype it up and go to like YouTube and play. I'll play clips from Ultra Music Festival. For me, electronic music, going back to when I was DJing, I really like electronic music. And so I'll play different clips of like the after movies, or these, after videos of the events, which are so epic. It just gets me hyped to see it. I eventually want to go. I think it'd be super cool to go to that festival. I haven't. It's definitely on my list for being able to experience. But what happens when I am dancing with music is that I'm able to bring my awareness down to the whole rest of my body. Like you're able to move also literally with the body, and so then any of this stress buildup that can happen, especially if you're thinking about all the different tasks you got to get done and you're thinking future thinking here of like, okay, the stuff you got to get done in your day, when you can then be more present through the dancing of the music, then the body feels safer. And then with that, what happens is that opens up more space for clarity of what it is that you really want, what it is that you have to get done in the day that's actually going to be able to make progress for you and help you to grow within this business for yourself and the business overall. So then, and it's fun. Like for me, it's such a great way to have fun, to release, to just vibe with it. It's a lot of fun to be able to do that. And then I notice afterwards, I do feel more energized. And so for me, it then becomes that habit of what I call burnout proof habit, a habit that is energizing for me. That's going to help me to avoid burnout and move towards making burnout extinct. And then when it can just be for these clips, like 10 minutes, like I'll just do it for 10 minutes. Simple as that. Or not, you can do it for 5 if you want, for 2 minutes. But then even your favorite song, you play your favorite song, dance, and then get back into it. And it really does help to give you that new perspective to move forward in your day and then overall in your life and with the business. So to recap for you, okay, because I just went through the 4. So the 4 to remember. First one is to remember is to go for a walk without digital distractions, to have that space without digital distractions if you don't want to do a walk. Thinking back to going with my life partner Adriana for our walk up the hill. The second one that I have for you is to change your environment that you're in. If you are stuck in a problem that you're trying to figure out the solution to for what you really want, for how you want to move forward, change your environment. If you're inside, get outside for a few minutes and then come on back. You have a new perspective there. And then the other one I have for you is working out, lifting weights. So for me, I do that at home, is lifting weights. And so I feel stronger by doing that. And that strength I can channel into the business. And then I'm able to release that tension out of the body and that stress out of the body because I'm tensing my body and then releasing the weight down. And then that can help to create that clarity for what do I really want. And then the other one, the last one I have for you is this dancing with music. So being able to connect to the rest of your body through movement in such a fun way and in such a cool way to be able to do that. And all of these, what they come back to is helping you to create safety within your body. And with that, then clarity will form. You'll feel more present as well in the body. And then you can move faster in the direction that you want to move towards for what you really want, because you understand the path ahead. Going back to this feeling of like trying to go along this trail in the middle of the night when you can't even see it. It's so dark you can't see ahead of you and you have no light. This is being able to have like this massive light with you to support you along the way so you can move faster along this trail. And you open up whole new doorways of possibility for being able to explore what else is possible in your life, because there's so much potential within all of us. It's being able to continue to tap into that and move forward. I go back to this principle that I want to leave you with, which is the principle of immense potential, where there's so much potential within us that we will never be able to develop it all in our lifetime. And so the fulfillment comes from being on that path of developing that potential. And what I get excited about is like, let me explore to see what is possible if I have all this potential within me. That's what gets me so excited to be in this, to be building the business, and to be able to be in this journey with you of making burnout extinct. And what I want to tell you, if you haven't heard it yet today, I believe in you. You have the capabilities as a human being to recognize those signals in the body that are telling you you're headed towards burnout and make those changes to your habits. And so it's picking one of these habits to try in these next few days. You can try it for the next 14 days. If you want to pick more than one, great. Maybe start with 2 if you haven't done any of these. But bring 1 or 2 into them into your day for the next 14 days, and notice what happens for yourself. And then you can let me know. You can send me a message as well as your own experience. And what I want to make sure you also know is that you got this.